So today I'm going to present my research on fake news, and this theory in front of you is what drives me into my research. The theory of media dependency by Paul Rockich and Fleur in 1976 is a research that is conducted by a sociologist on the development of citizens' reliance towards mass media. So we often develop some sort of reliance towards our what we're reading in the news. But what is more interesting is its secondary theory of media dependency, also by Paul Rockich and Fleur. And this theory will be used further in my research, which stated that the greater the instability of a society, the greater the audience dependency on the media, and therefore the greater the potential effect on the media on the audience. So as you can see, as the social system is being unstable, the reliance towards mass media is increasing, and therefore the effect. This theory also shows that the society have great impacts toward the audience dependency on media and especially their perception towards media. So my name is Jason Gray, and my research is entitled From Hoax to Chaos: A Societal Impact on Verification of Media Reliableness. So these are categories of news that I'm going to use in my research. So to explain further why do I differ the news within categories is because our reaction towards certain categories with the other are different. As for example, as we listen to a health news, our reaction will be different from listening to economic news or political news, and that is what is interesting and what will be observed more in this research. The society have great effect on the readers, especially in the determination of whether the news is reliable or not, and it is expressed by these 8 theories that I found. So the first theory is the validity effect theory, which is researched by Bohm in 1994, which stated that individuals tend to believe information that is correct after repeated exposures. So when readers listen to a particular news repeatedly, they tend to believe that the information is reliable. The second one is the bandwagon effect by Liebenstein in the 1950s, which stated that uh, individuals do something primarily because others are doing it. So the readers follow what their friends or their relatives uh, primar- primarily because they are doing something and others are also doing it. And the next thing is the social identity theory by Ashford in the 1989, which stated that an individual self concept derives from perceived membership in a relevant social group. So it's the reliability of news is determined by the communication in a particular social group. And the next is the availability cascade by Koran in 1999, which is individuals tend to adopt insights expressed by others when such insights are gaining more popularity within their social circles. So, uh, in short explanation, the popularity of the news determines the reliability and the validity. So the other 4 theories of societal impact is conservatism bias, Semmelweis reflex, echo chamber effect, and also attentional bias. So conservatism bias is the tendency to revise one's belief insufficiently when presented with new evidence. And the Semmelweis reflex stated that individuals tend to reject new evidence because it contradicts with established norms and belief. And also the echo chamber effect, which stated that the beliefs are amplified or reinforced by communication and repetition within a closed system. So when a topic is repeated in an in communication of the closed system, then it might then become a validated news. And also, the last one is the theory of intentional bias by Maclet in 86. It's stating that an individual's perception is affected by his or her recurring thoughts at a time. So, what your perception, what is your thinking at a particular time is what determines uh, your validation of news based on your opinion. So the societal impact theories will be a reference for me in my questionnaire to determine what the society have provided for the readers to believe a certain news or a certain categorized news. Now, moving on to my research goals on what I'm going to find and what are my findings. So, the first goal is to analyze what category of news have the most impact on the readers. It's either out of the five categories. And the second one is out of the eight basic theories of societal impact, does different types of category rely on different societal impact? So, when different categories occurs, for example, health news and political news, the society provides a different impact within different categories. And also, the last one is what particular type of media will have a high probability in fake news flow and spreadings. So, what fake news must be in order for their flow to be a clear path and in their highest chance of spreading. So, to achieve my research goal, I am going to do some surveys to analyze. Oh, actually, I've done it, but so my research is using the quantitative method, and it is in the form of observatory research. And my analysis is only based on surveys and questionnaire, and also the observation. And the observation is for secondary data and also what supports my research. So the targeted participants in my survey a while ago is 100 participants or 100 samples, and participants must be adults, uh, which are more than 18 years old. So to start my analysis, uh, let's start with the question: why do people share or make hoaxes? And I collected several opinions, and they stated that hoaxes are made to achieve a feeling of knowing better than others, which are human nature, and it might be a feeling of sensation, and it might be uh, to attract attention or acknowledgement, and also actually hoaxes have influence on business purposes, and it sometimes can be beneficial, but sometimes can go to the wrong way. So the next question is, at what level does the mass media influence someone? Okay, so starting with crime news. So what is the level of influence of crime news? And based on the data and survey that I have conducted, uh, crime news is not persuasive or not influencing, but it can be a precaution because it can be a sense of danger for someone or the readers. It can be a warning. Now moving on to the what social impact plays in determining the credibility of a crime news by the readers. And the choices that I inserted is the shorten of the theories of the eight theories that I have stated before. And it shows that the data is showing that uh, when someone is reading crime news, they often check the credibility of news by looking at repeated exposures and also discovery of new evidence, but most likely is when the crime news became public attention or the public topic communication. Now, the next analysis is to analyze the level of influence of entertainment news, and it shows that entertainment news have the lowest level of influence out of the other categories. And it is shown that uh, the readers are not influenced at all. Even 60% of the audience says the same. So someone might think that the particular news, entertainment news, is credible when it has high popularity, it is viral, it is popular. And aside from that, 20% says that repeated exposures might also be the reason. But the main reason is the popularity of the news. Now, looking forward on the level of influence of political news, and the level of influence is not so influencing, but it can be as a precautions, and it shows that uh, only about 1, 2, or 3% uh, says that it is highly influencing or it can be applied in the future for them. So moving on to the social impact that plays on someone's perception in determining whether the news is credible or not, reliable or not, is that they often discover new evidence of political news. Also, uh, asking experts, also repeated exposures might be the social impact that plays role in the political news credibility. Now moving on to health news. The level of influence of health news actually is more influencing than others. It has the highest influence because I think it's concerning about people's health and lives of people. And the analysis on social impact in playing on someone's perception within determining whether the health news is credible or not is one dominant social impact, which is people's perception, including experts. So what plays role in the credibility of health news is uh, the expertise of the author, or there is a expertise, information, or opinion, then the health news might be considered as credible. So the last category is economic news. So the level of influence of economic news is less influencing. However, it is moderate. It is considered moderate. And maybe it is because economic news is related to the reader's economic well-being and it can be a concern. Now, what social impact plays in determining the credibility of an economic news? And the data shows that uh, peop- uh, the presence of people's experts can help an economic news to be more credible or it is considered to be more reliable. However, uh, when the economic news uh, provides new evidences, then it might be more reliable and credible. So I haven't concluded anything from the data because it is a fresh data and still needed future further analysis. So thank you for listening and that is my presentation.